my beautiful book besties, welcome back to a brand new video. Today we are just gonna do a good old-fashioned book haul. So I did want to preface this video by saying there's some construction happening on the highway right by my house. It is extremely loud, so I'm kind of going to go through these books rather quickly today because I don't know how long they're going to be drilling into the ground. I don't really have a choice because this is my only day to film this week, so hopefully there's not too much background noise, but if you pick up any background noise, I'm so sorry. I promise I'm probably just as annoyed as you guys are. Sorry for that disclaimer, but I just wanted you guys to know if there is some noise, it's not intentional and I apologize, but we are here for a good old fall book haul. I have not done a book haul in quite some time, I feel like, which has been intentional. I've reeled in a lot of my book buying this year. I feel like a lot of my money has gone towards like more expensive books that I really just love looking at on my shelf, but I've also gotten some really cool books from publishers I wanted to share. But definitely go grab a cozy cup of tea or an iced coffee, or one of my favorites, a homemade pumpkin spice latte. Grab yourself a cozy drink, settle in, and let's just go ahead and get right into the books, starting with some special editions. I have to start us off with probably my favorite thing that I've gotten so far this year, and these are not necessarily books. Well, I did buy the Illumicrate of A Theory in Dreaming. You guys know I love A Study in Drowning, but Illumicrate was doing these alternative covers for these books, and I am so obsessed. I wish you guys could see like some of the details. I still need to like officially crease them and everything, but oh my goodness, these are so stunning. These are the original covers in case you haven't seen these before and you're like, what editions are you talking about? When I saw these, I knew that I had to set a reminder in my phone to buy these because I love these side by side on my shelf. They just look so good together. So if you have not read this duology yet, I need you to, because this is the perfect like dark academic fall read. It's so incredible. Lots of gothic vibes, lots of rainy day vibes. This is just so perfect for the season. Next, we have the Waterstones exclusive edition of Wild Reverence. It is absolutely stunning, but honestly what sold me is these end pages. Are you kidding me? I mean, look at that dragon. This is just absolutely gorgeous. This is a completely different vibe than the US cover, because honestly this is what I was expecting for the US cover. I feel like it kind of matches with Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows, and I think this is probably like the 3rd or 4th edition of this book that I have. It's 6 out of 5 stars. It's so good. Rebecca Ross can do no wrong, so she's really the only person I would spend this kind of money for. This is the first time I've bought anything from Waterstones, which is also super cool because one of my favorite authors and one of the first editions I've gotten from this bookstore. Another author that I think I'm really gonna love, don't judge me because I did get this edition without reading any of her other books, but I did have like a $15 credit for this. You guys have told me, and I just have this inkling that I'm really gonna love Sarah Beth Durst. I bought the Spell Shop off of Owlcrate, got rid of my regular edition, and when this came out I was like, I also need this to match. I am absolutely obsessed. I wish you guys could get a closer up of this, but my favorite part is the dragons and the cup of soup, and this is just absolutely stunning. Why do they not print on naked hardcovers like this all the time? This green is one of my favorite greens of all time, and that's probably honestly what sold me on it. The end papers are just super fun. This book just screams Olivia. It's cottagecore. I think it's even a little bit more like wintry, which looks really fun as well. A remote island brimming with singing flowers, honey cakes, and honeyed love. This might end up being the first book by her that I read, and I think it's gonna be perfect for the cozy season. I love anything cozy. If I'm gonna love an author that's a cozy fantasy author, it's probably gonna be her. Next, I have some editions that did come out recently. They are, I guess, deluxe exclusive editions of One Dark Window and 2 Twisted Crowns. I was debating whether or not I wanted to get these because I do have the paperback editions. The publisher actually sent those to me, which meant they were actually free, and I allowed myself to spend money on these because I think they're so fun and dark and gothic for this season. I read Night and the Moth, and it was one of the most interesting books I've ever read. This is the end paper, and then both of them have some type of like foiling on the front, and then this second one definitely looks very similar. Again, red foiling, which I love, but honestly what sold me was the sprayed edges of these. Together they just look so good on a bookshelf. This was a no-brainer. My most recent Fairy Loot purchase or book box subscription is one that I almost passed on because I am a little bit scared of the content and how dark this is going to be, but I was very intrigued on what this was going to look like. That is Alchemized, which the only thing I knew about this story or about this book is I think it used to be called Manacled. It was a fan fiction, like Hermione fan fiction, which I have no interest in, honestly. But then I read Rose in Chains earlier this year and I absolutely fell in love with it. I loved the gothic vibes and I just loved everything about that world. I got so sucked into it, and something about this book is calling my name. Do I know anything about what it's about? I honestly couldn't tell you. Once a promising alchemist, Helena Marino is now a prisoner of war and of her own mind. Her resistance, friends, and allies have been brutally murdered. Her abilities suppressed and the world she knew destroyed. I think I'm honestly most intrigued about the alchemy part of this whole book and kind of the world building. I was not expecting at all this naked cover, but I think it's so cool. It's kind of like an anime style. It's almost kind of cottagecore in a way. This is on my near radar for maybe like November, December, when I have a little bit more time to put into like 1,040 pages. I have another Owl Crate book that actually was the pick for May, but they had some type of like printing issue or licensing issue, but this is actually traditionally published now. But personally, I have not seen anyone that has read this at all, which very much intrigues me. It's called Modern Divination, and I'm not super impressed with this cover, I'm not gonna lie, but then I saw the sprayed edges and this sword just really draws me in. This looks so cool and so fall. Also, these end pages are giving Howl's Moving Castle or Rhysand from Sarah J Maas, which definitely has me intrigued. So this is actually a witch and a witch killer, which I'm a huge fan of. Catch me avoiding my whole October TBR just to read this beautiful book. Another fun thing that I do or like to do on my Patreon that we've done is we do like a secret Santa, but like a book exchange. We did that this summer where we wanted to like spread some sunshine to each other, and Kira, thank you so much again for sending me this series. She sent me the whole box series of Kingdom of the Wicked. I have read Jack the Ripper and the Dracula book and I absolutely love them. I give them both 5 stars, so I obviously really want to explore more from this author. I've heard you want to read this before the Throne of the Fallen like duology, and I feel like this is going to be perfect for fall. I'm just very happy to have this box set, so when I read the first one and I know I'm gonna love it, I have the whole series to binge. Next we have actually my October book club pick for Patreon, so I have talked about this in my October TBR. I definitely tried to not talk about like all the books I've hauled recently because you've seen it in TBRs before and my book shopping video and everything, but I did get Alchemy of Secrets and I had to mention it again because I got the Book of the Month edition and they've been doing these sprayed edges, which I think is really cool. I do have the Fairy Loot copy, I think, coming for the month of October. In the meantime, I really can't wait that long till the end of the month to finally read this. I'm very excited. It seems like time travel, there's like an old theater. Stephanie Garber is dark, and I think that's going to be obviously perfect for fall. If I'm not mistaken, I think this is actually her adult debut, which makes me even more excited. Another favorite author that I just had to mention is Erin A. Craig, A Land So Wide. The ending was very rushed, but the vibes kind of gave off The Village mixed with Twilight, mixed with Bird Box. She just creates such weird, different, atmospheric, unique settings and plots, and this one was definitely that. I'm so excited that we got another one of her books this year, so of course I had to get it on release day. Okay, the next book I have is one that definitely intrigues me. I did not realize when I picked this up that it's kind of cosmic horror, but also romantasy, and that honestly makes me a little bit curious about House of the Beast. I feel like this is going to be perfect to read in the month of October. She also illustrated The Legend of Korra, which I believe is kind of popular. A young woman who strikes a deal with a mysterious and alluring god to seek revenge on her aristocratic family. There's definitely some spooky, interesting illustrations in here, which makes me really excited. Also, Erin A. Craig did say on the back, a beguiling tale of strange gods, cosmic horrors, and ruinous revenge. With compelling characters and masterful world building, Wong's debut is sure to become a celebrated classic. This is kind of giving like Studio Ghibli if it was is a little bit darker. And then we also have Nightshade, which is like a dark academia, romantic, fantasy kind of gothic vibe. There's a murder mystery, there's romance, and I don't know what else, but I did read the first chapter, the first few pages in Barnes & Noble before I bought this, and I was already kind of spooked out, kind of feeling the vibes. As much as I absolutely love A Study in Drowning, this is totally calling my name. I feel like there's kind of similar vibes to it. Also, with a name like Autumn Woods, I don't know if that's like her real name, but it's already giving off fall vibes. And then we have another favorite author of all time, and I still need to read her book Wisteria before the year ends because I really would love to read Holly by Adeline Grace. This just came out. I also have the UK edition cover on the way because I'm literally quite that obsessed. I mean, look how beautiful this is. We not only get these super cute end pages, but there are just illustrations throughout this entire book. Like, how fun is that? The red and the green. It was supposed to be the perfect Christmas at Wisteria Gardens. This is pretty much one of the only, if not the only, Christmassy holiday book that I'm really looking forward to this year, so I'm very, very excited to finally be holding it. This next book I was influenced by two of my best friends to get because this wasn't on my radar at all, but now that they mentioned it, of course I'm seeing it everywhere. If it's a fantasy, people are talking about it, I want to be in the know, and that is The Second Death of Locke. This cover is giving those old-timey, like traditional classic fantasy vibes that I personally love. For Grey is no ordinary magical well, and if she dies, all magic dies with her. That last line right there completely pulled me in. Say no more. And I was even looking at the chapter headers and their hearts, and there's even other illustrations, so this is just pulling me in. I've seen some people get emotional at the end, cry at the end, so obviously I have to know how the story ends. Okay, now we're kind of getting a little bit more into some cozier fantasy, which I'm so excited to talk about. I feel like this season, especially going into November, is just the coziest season ever, when the air is getting a little bit chill, it's crisp outside, and there's just so much to love about cozy fantasy. And one of them I was looking forward to is The Late Night Witches by Orly Wallace. I've only read the first chapter, but as much as I loved As in the Company of Witches, this is giving a whole different feel, but like those same vibes. This takes place around Halloween. There's vampires, and I think there's like a found family. It takes place on Prince Edward Island. What else could you want in a book? Next, I have a sequel that a publisher sent me. I have not read the first book, called The Baby Dragon Cafe, but apparently The Baby Dragon Bakery is already out. I know this is kind of like a slice of life fantasy, very low stakes. There's some really cute romance and of course some dragons. Something about this just looks so adorable and cute, and something that I would absolutely love. But dragons, a bakery, I mean, what's not to love? And then we have none other than Uncharmed by Lucy Jane Wood. I recently read Rewitched, and I fell in love with it way more than I thought I was going to. It's full of heart and emotion, plot twists, and crazy things that honestly reminded me of so many different books. And I don't even care what this one is about. I know there's a witch that kind of takes like an orphanage teenager under her wing. She trains her while also is juggling with her own perfectionist or perfectionism, which I feel like is 100% me. So I think I could potentially love this book even more than Rewitched, so I'm very eager to get to it. And then we have a Fellowship of Librarians and Dragons. I think the third one or fourth one is even out at this point, but I still have not read the first one, which I'm hoping to do this November. I don't know what this one is about, but it says spilling the tea has never been so cozy. It was a cover buy, and I wanted to get the sprayed edges before they stopped making them. I'm slowly getting more and more into cozy fantasy, and as I do, I just want to add more to my collection, so this one just felt like a no-brainer. Next, I have a book that I'm actually very excited for. This is from a local author. She reached out to me and wanted to send me her fall small town romance book, and of course I couldn't say no because that sounds right up my alley. This is called Pages of Our Past, and look how cute this cover is. It looks like a very short, quick read, which I love, but Blair is an author and Grayson is the broody bar owner. A stirring small-town romance full of second chances, one of my favorite tropes, slow burn heat, and the power of telling your own story. I love the title of this book so much, and the cover is just so cute, so I'm definitely adding this to my romance fall list. I always love to celebrate debut authors, especially when they're local. Another book that I got from the publisher by Jodi McAllister. I've never heard of this author before. It's coming out in November. This is called An Academic Affair. It is a more contemporary romance, I believe, but it's with rival professors. I love this cover. I feel like the school setting is perfect for fall. A charming new romance about two English professors who embark on a fake relationship, only to discover that it may be harder to pretend than they realized. I've never read from this author before. If you guys have read from this author before, definitely let me know because I'm very intrigued. We also have Emma Lord's new For the Record. I think this is already out actually, but thank you so much to the publisher. I've never read something by this author, but I really want to. Daisy Jones kind of vibes, single dad, maybe second chance romance. I'm in love with this already. I feel like if I'm gonna love something by this author, it's gonna be this book because it's full of tropes that I already love. Next, we have An Ancient Witch's Guide to Modern Dating, which I'm really upset I haven't read this yet. I think I've mentioned it in another book haul or like another video or something at some point, but I haven't seen anyone talk about this and it sounds so cute. It's about a 39-year-old witch who somehow takes like a love potion and then she's hurled more than 300 years into the future. So she lands in like the city, she doesn't know what a phone is, and she's trying to date, and it just sounds really fun and really cute. I mean, the cat on the cover did kind of sell me, I'm not gonna lie. I love a good little rom-com, and I think the whole time travel thing is gonna be super fun too. The next fun little book that I was debating on getting because I don't have the best like track record with this author. I've tried 2 of her books and I didn't really love them, but this one is called Crazy Spooky Love by Josie Silver. It's about a family, I think, of ghost-busting women who are trying to like figure out the whole mystery of this nearby house that's haunted that's trying to sell. I think they may even own like a B&B or something like that. So I already love the cozy vibes, the Ghostbusters. I think the mystery element is gonna add something super fun to the story as well. Something about including magic and romance is always the perfect combination for me. I'm willing to give this author one more shot because I think if I'm gonna like anything, it's gonna be a story similar to this. And then I have Forget Me Not, the newest Stacey Willingham that was also sent to me by the publisher, so thank you so much to the publisher. I have not read anything by this author yet. 22 years ago, Claire Campbell's older sister Natalie disappeared shortly after her 18th birthday. Days later, her blood was found in a car. A man was arrested and the case was swiftly closed. In the decades since, Claire has attempted to forget her traumatic past by moving to the city and climbing the ranks as an investigative journalist until an unexpected call from her father forces her to come back home and face it all anew. And it takes place in coastal South Carolina, very close to me. I guess she takes like a seasonal job at this farm, so I think this is gonna be interesting. I love that it takes place in South Carolina because I had no idea. I also love a good sister dynamic. I also know that she kind of writes some dark themes or topics, so we're gonna see how this goes. And then last but definitely not least, as someone who's a Christian, I would love to be more familiar with the Christian fiction genre, and one author and one book specifically I've seen circulating around a lot is Gabrielle Meyer's When the Day Comes. I think this is called the Timeless series, but this book apparently takes place on 2 different parallel timelines. This woman I think is living in 1914 and also 1774, so she kind of has 2 different lives, and I think by the end she has to decide like which one she wants to stay in. So obviously as someone that's a fantasy reader, I do love kind of like that little magical or sci-fi element, I guess, but also I've heard there's a lot of like drama packed into this series, which sometimes I love. I'm not a huge historical fiction person, but something about this cover and just everybody talking about it intrigues me. So if I just want like a good palette cleanser, I think this is going to be a really good book. Well, thank you all so incredibly much for stopping by and watching me or listen to me ramble about all the books I've collected recently. I would love to know what your favorite newest book purchase has been. I'm so in love with some of these exclusive editions I've got my hands on, so those are probably my favorites. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Maybe you got a new book recommendation. All of these books definitely weren't necessarily fall, but I have purchased them or gotten them in this fall season. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video.